Hey everybody, it's Josie. Good morning. I hope everyone is having a fabulous week. I have been the last 2 weeks vacation Bible school mode. Last week, all week, we decorated the church. And this week is vacation Bible school. Tonight is the last night, and we have invited all the parents to come, and we're having hamburgers and hot dogs and fellowshipping with them and thanking them for allowing the children to come to vacation Bible school. It has been wonderful. It's been joyful watching all the kids do their arts and crafts and to learn their little songs and all of the things that go along with vacation Bible school. Some of you are probably still doing vacation Bible school in your churches, and you're helping with that. And maybe others of you remember going to Bible school as a child. I remember Bible school, and I have been involved with Bible school from the time I was little. And it takes a lot of work and effort, but it's really worth it to watch those little kids come alive. Our Bible school has been a water theme. Scuba was the theme from group publishing, and the kids really liked it. Our church is decked out. The sanctuary looks like as close to under the sea as we could do it. And I've been painting and turning tents into whales and all kinds of different things for each of the stories each night. And tonight's the last night. So tomorrow, I've got some work to do here around the house that needs our attention. The garden needs our attention. We are actually having problems here. I don't know about y'all's area, but different ones that I've talked to here that have gardens are having trouble with grasshoppers. At first, I thought on my tomatoes that I had some tomato hornworms, and I looked and couldn't find them, but that means nothing. Those of you that have dealt with tomato hornworms know that they're hard to see. And I've looked, put my eyeballs on them. Cheyenne's put her eyes on them, and we just couldn't find them. But it did look like tomato hornworm damage. And so I just kept watching, kept looking over the little tomato plants. And we have discovered that we have a crazy amount of grasshoppers here. And others around our area do too. We have some friends from church that have a big garden, and they're across the river from us at Weber's Falls, and they are having that problem too. And so the little crazy grasshoppers are enjoying my tomatoes more so than what I have gotten to enjoy so far. They're not bothering the fruits, but they are eating the leaves. And if they eat too many of the leaves, then of course, if you had science class in school, then photosynthesis can't happen, and the tomato plants will suffer for it. They like all kinds of things. It's not just the tomatoes. It's any kind of leaf and plant, flowers, herbs, and then the vegetables. Don't notice them bothering our trees yet, because I guess they have too much other vegetation to eat. But I remember when I was younger, before Howie and I was married, that we had a grasshopper, I don't know if you call it infestation or what you call it, but we had a grasshopper infestation come in to the area, and they were so bad when you'd get out of your vehicle to walk, they would just, hop out of your way. It wasn't just one or two that was around. They were just everywhere. You had to watch where you stepped, because you'd step on them, and they were even chewing and eating the paint off of the side of the house. That's how bad they were. That's the worst I've ever seen grasshoppers. And that wasn't here at this house. This was before Howie and I married. So it was at my the particular time that they were eating the paint was at my friend's house in Missouri. So I haven't seen quite that bad in a long time, but they are bad this year. They are just eating everything up. And so we're facing that. We haven't really had any other heavy pest issues in our garden except for ants. And those fire ants are terrible. I'm leery to spray anything in the garden that is not safe. But the fire ants are so bad. So I told you guys that we were offering meals to the children before Vacation Bible School started. And because we felt like there were some children that, school's out for the summertime, and we felt like that there was probably some kids that weren't getting the nutrition, getting the food that they got when they were at school. And we did have most of our kids came early and ate the meals. And we did have a few children that were really food insecure. And we had one little child in particular on a pizza night. Of course, I know children love pizza. But this child ate and ate and ate pizza. They didn't waste it. They ate it, totally ate it. It wasn't just, how kids, sometimes your eyes are bigger than your stomach. And so you want a whole bunch and then you end up throwing part of it away. This child did not. This child ate and ate and ate the pizza. And then was still wanting pizza. So we had the leftover pizza that we had, we sent home with them. And we, over the rest of the week, we kind of watched over them and made sure that, that they were getting plenty to eat while they were there. And then we filled our blessing box back up this week. And Cheyenne put in canned peaches and canned fruits. We had to put things in that's non-perishable. So most of our food items are canned items, and we can put some boxed items in there if we let people know that it's in there, so that there's a faster turnaround, so that you don't have to worry about anything getting into the blessing box. Although it is up off the ground on a post, we don't want have any problems with the food that we're giving to people. So Cheyenne did put in, like I said, canned fruits, and she put in things that would be easy for kids to fix, like raviolis and SpaghettiOs, and I forget all of the things that she put in there. And then the very next day, there was just a few things left. And so, I tell this to you just about every time, that food insecurity is there, probably in your area as well. I've been seeing articles this week, and of course I know that we're in the midst of a political thing, and that, people are both, regardless of what side you're on, people are reporting, oh, it's not so bad, and things are getting better, and things are improving, and prices are going down. And folks, here where I live in Oklahoma, I'm not seeing the prices go down at all. I'm not seeing things that people that are really trying to stretch a budget and feed as much of their family as they can, on things that, just a couple of years ago, you could get for $1 a can. For instance, I'll just use this as an example. You could get canned spaghetti sauce, not the jars, because I know the jars are most of the time a little bit more expensive, but the canned spaghetti sauce was 98 cents to $1 a can. And now that's at least $1.25, $1.28 a can. And I know there are people that say, it's just a quarter, it's just 28 cents. That's not that big of a deal. But really it is to people that are, barely getting by, trying to feed their family as best they can. Those foods, those types of foods, the prices have not come back down. I don't know that they ever will really and truly come down. Cheyenne and I were discussing that the other day, and she said, do you think the prices will come down? And I think that on some things like gasoline, the prices fluctuate on that depending on so many different variables, things that are going on. Those prices may go down. But I think that sometimes, and then we also saw the eggs. Remember, eggs got just crazy high. In our area, a dozen eggs was, well over $4 a dozen. And then, the bigger amounts of eggs, they got crazy high. And those prices did come back down some, but they're talking about, the avian flu and all of that kind of stuff again. And anytime they talk about those kind of things, you need to watch the prices, because it's going to affect, anytime they cull birds, you can bet that the chicken prices are going to go up again. Egg prices are going to go up again. Feed prices will probably go up. And all of those things sound like doom and gloom, but it's not so bad if you know ahead of time to watch for those things and you make preparation. Whether you buy eggs or you raise your own eggs, think of ways that you can put those eggs up. Maybe you can put them in the freezer. Some people glass their eggs, and other people just use lots and lots of eggs. I know Blade, our family, the adults in our family are trying to shift on our, where we're trying to get healthier. And so protein is a big part of that. And so my son is really into eggs now as part of his protein. And so there's all kinds of things that if you know ahead of time, that could be a problem if you're hearing stories and reports and you're reading articles that is talking about avian flu and they're talking about culling birds. Know that the eggs is something that you might have to look at. Listen to the things that you're hearing about dairy, and are there things that you need to do so that your family is more secure in areas of dairy, meaning milk. And if your family consumes milk and your family consumes cheese and yogurt and all of the different things, there's so many things that we can do if we keep ourselves in the know. Now, that doesn't mean that we spend hours and hours and hours a day on the internet and on the news. And some people do, I know that, because it's their job. But for the rest of us, we hear those things, and so we need to prepare ourselves for the next thing. Now, we know all of the stuff that's been going on. We know this last weekend, the shooting that took place with a former president, and we all know that temperatures have risen, and in the natural, temperatures have risen. Of course, we're in the heat of summer, and it has been really hot for Vacation Bible School. We've only had one night, thank the Lord, that we had to readjust because it was just extremely hot, terribly steamy. It had rained, and the humid, it was horrible. But that's not the temperature I'm talking about. The temperature I'm talking about is in the nation, the temperature of the nation. And we know it from times past, we've had the summer of love, and we've had all this different stuff. And so what kind of summer are we going to have this year? We know that we've had the assassination attempt made last weekend, and temperatures getting a little high at both parties. They're having the Republicans having their convention this week, Democrats next month, I believe. And, a lot of things, a lot of rhetoric, a lot of things are thrown out there, and just to see if it sticks. Sometimes it is the right news, but most of the time is something to get people stirred up. We are in a place in this country that people don't want you to have your own thoughts and your own feelings about things. And it reminds me of when we were in junior high and high school, and two individuals would get into a dispute over, I don't know, clothes or boys or whatever it was that they were, whatever was contentious. And they weren't satisfied with just the two being against each other. You had to draw more people in on your side to get your side strong and ready to square off against the other side. And that's what's happening in the U.S. today is people will have their opinions and their ideas about things. And the more I get on my side, the stronger my side might be, is the thinking. And they know how to push buttons. Some people are button pushers. Some people like to poke the bear with the stick. And they just keep on and on until we've got a big mess and people are heated up and they're angry. And a lot of times they're not even really sure what they're angry about. They just know that my side is mad and we're mad at your side. Listen, folks, we are one country with many different political views and views on how to raise our children, how to spend our money, how to budget, what's the better way to do this versus this. And we have to come to a place where we can be civil. It's okay to have disagreements. That's part of life. We're going to have disagreements on all kinds of different things. But that doesn't mean that we have to burn it all down. That doesn't mean that we have to try to take the other person out, that we can't be civil, that we can't debate and be civil about it. When we get to a place where we can't be civil, then a lot of things get destroyed. A lot of innocent people can get hurt. Or property can be destroyed. I'll remind you of this little movie from well, it was before my time, but I still like the movie, The Parent Trap. And it was the two girls that were twins that had been separated when they were babies, and they didn't know each other, and mama got one of them, daddy got the other, and they were on the other side of the country. They just happened to go to the same summer camp, and they were instantly enemies. And it was because they looked alike and they made these little comments to one another. And one had her group of friends, and the other had her group of friends. And they began to do things. One would do something and the other would retaliate, all through the first part of this little movie. And they were doing things to get at each other. And it just went on and on until there was an event, a party that the little girls' camp was having, and the boys' camp was invited over. They were going to have a dance, is what it was. And these two girls fought so bad that they ended up causing the entire party to be a failure. Everyone lost out. The food was destroyed. Tables were turned over. All kinds of things happened because these two individuals and their differing ideas. Now, the camp director, she was smart. She took them out to an isolation cabin, and they had to stay in the cabin together. They had to eat together and all these things. And they resisted at first until they found out that they were sisters. And they came together and they formed a plan to get their parents back together. And that's, go watch the movie. It's called The Parent Trap. But anyway, the idea of it, what I wanted to get out of it, was what I was talking about, the junior high school thing, where I had to have all these people on my side. The other side had to have a big group of people on their side. And the differing ideas caused a problem for everybody in the end because of the way that they handled things. Now, I can see that happening here in the U.S. I'm not saying anything about, division causing civil war or anything like that. But if we don't get a handle on all of this stuff, we're going to end up just like that, where the differing ideas caused more harm than they did good. Sometimes when you bring a bunch of people together and they debate, or they conduct a think tank where everybody can put ideas out there, and if you can be mature about it and you can be responsible with it, then ideas come out of that. Maybe I go into this think tank thinking the only way to fry chicken is this way, and somebody else comes in and they have another idea, and their only way to fry chicken is that way. And we begin to talk back and forth. And if we're willing to listen to one another, then we discover the best way to cook chicken, to fry chicken, is not exactly like this person has it, or exactly like I had it. But let's say, hey, that idea works better for breading, and this idea works better for the way to cook it and the way to get it fried up and to keep it crispy. A lot of people fry chicken different ways, and everybody swears that their granny's chicken was the best, and I'm one of them. My granny's chicken was the best chicken in the world. But she did things that maybe some other people don't. She fried her chicken, and she had a Tupperware bowl that had holes in it, kind of like a colander. And she would put a piece of white bread on the top of her fried chicken and put the lid on the container. And that kept her chicken breading from getting soggy and falling out, because the condensation would collect on that piece of bread. Brilliant idea. And it probably not her original idea, but she found a solution. And that's what we need to do in the place that we are in the world today. We need to come up with a solution that could be just as simple as a piece of white bread laying on top of a bowl of chicken. Folks, we have many more months until we get to the end of the race, the political race of this year. And you're going to be hearing lots of things, lots of back and forth, lots of I'll do this and I'll do that. And we have to keep cool heads about it. There are families that can't get together right now because they talk about things that get things started. And that's a sad thing, because right now what we really need in this country and in our families is unity. Everything is not going to be perfect, and there's going to be things that you don't like from one side or the other, and you're not going to change the other side's mind about it, but we can be civil to them. And besides that, the important thing for us to do is in our families. Let's be unified in our families, and remember that there's not a place to quit. You hear all the things that's going on, and no matter which party gets in place, the problems and the issues are not going to go away overnight. There are still lots and lots of things that need to be taken care of. It's like I said at the beginning of this video, here where I live in Oklahoma, the prices haven't decreased. I know that they're reporting in other places they have, but they have not here. So people are still having issues with making their budgets stretch and making their food budgets. The amount that they're able to spend on food has not increased, but the amount that they need for their family is still the same. And so they're having to be creative with the meals that they come up with and how to stretch things. The price of gas and the price of utilities. We're in the heat of summer, and it's hot here in Oklahoma. I'm sure it's really hot where you are too. And most of us are not conditioned to live without air conditioning any longer. Air conditioning, fans, keeping cool is something that we all enjoy. And, that's expensive. Trains going by, guys. My advice to everybody today would be, don't let yourself get pushed in to being part of the problem, but be part of the solution. And that's both sides. You can have your political views and still be civil to those around you. Even in your own family, there might be disputes, one on one side and one on the other, but the civility is important. The encouragement to live our lives and do the things that we need to do for our families, that's important. And we have to do all that we can to make it. Make sure that you're checking your stores and the things that you have prepared and the things that you have stocked up. One thing I think of is if the temperatures aren't cooled on both sides. Remember just a few years ago when we were in lines and trying to get items that we hadn't purchased? Thankfully, I didn't get in on the toilet paper thing. We had toilet paper stocked. But you want to do those things so that you don't have to put your family in harm's way should some of those things happen again, that you find yourself in line trying to buy the basics, trying to buy necessities for your family when everybody else is doing the same thing. We know that temperatures rise. That's what this video is about. And the ugly comes out. We become uncivilized and we become angry at one another and we shake our fist and it's over a roll of toilet paper. We don't want to go back to that. And so I challenge you, number one, to be civil. You can have your ideas and you can have your beliefs and you can stand on them. You do not have to change just because, others have a different idea. If you feel strongly about something, you don't have to change about that. That's part of being an American. That's a part of being wherever you live in the world, part of your views. You can stand on those. That's part of who I am as a Christian person. I have certain ideals that I hold to. That doesn't mean that I push you away. That doesn't mean that I won't listen to you. But it also means that I'm sure about what I believe. And there are certain things that I won't change, that I won't give on. But that doesn't mean that I can't be civil to you. That doesn't mean that I can't love you, that I can't be friends with you. It just means that this is my personal belief and I'm standing firm on that. So know what you believe, but be civil to others. And then, like I said, I challenge you to know your stocks, know your preps, know the things that you put up. You don't have to become a hoarder. You don't have to race out and spend all your money on whatever it is. But just make sure that you have some supplies for your families. Last week I told you that I would like to prepare for the year growing food in my garden. But I like to prepare beyond that just in case there's a crop failure. Well, this week I'm here telling you the grasshoppers is eating everything in sight. And so there might be some things that we have to purchase at the store. But I'd like to have my shelf stocked, absolutely stocked and running over with green beans. Absolutely. Fresh, home-canned green beans. But am I opposed to going and getting canned green beans? No, because I want to feed my family. I want to make sure that when we want to put a meal on the table and green beans is on the menu, that I can go to the shelves and I can get them. So be open to various ways of providing, whether your garden, and some of you, I've seen your pictures and you're growing fantastic, beautiful, awesome gardens. Some are not able to do that. Don't feel guilty about that. Don't sit around and pout that you can't have a garden or this or that. Put some feet on that desire and go to the farmers markets and try your hand at canning and freezing and dehydrating and all those things. Or go and buy some canned goods at the grocery store. There's nothing wrong with that. If that's where you are with your family right now, then just be thankful that you have the means to get it and that you're able to keep your family fed and satisfied. That's the most important thing. So challenge yourselves to do that. Spend this summer stocking up and preparing and making sure that your family has some of the things that they're in need of. I've checking my stocks and there are some holes in mine, and there's nothing wrong with that. We've used it, and I know that there's some things that need to be restocked, and that's how it works. You check your stocks and you restock, just like you had your own personal grocery store. You take responsibility for that. And if cooler heads will prevail, it starts with one person. So if cooler heads prevail And we know our beliefs. We're not changing in our beliefs, but we're not, knocking the other person for theirs either. And I say, I don't mean for this to sound all Pollyanna, but we have to take a step back and say that we have to be more civil in our tone, in our words. And remember that Jesus said, the disciples asked him, and Jesus said to love God and love your neighbor as yourself. So if we love God and we love our neighbor as ourselves, and that doesn't mean just the next door neighbor, that means the next person, they're our neighbor. If we love them as ourselves, then we're going to do what's best for us and for those around us at any given time. We're not going to, storm around and try to overtake everything when there's others there that are in need as well. Pay attention to your surroundings and be sensitive to those that are there around you. Maybe they have needs as well. Maybe you can work together. Maybe they have something that you can use and you have something they can use. We all benefit if we do that. So I said all that today, guys, to say, let's lower the temperature a little bit. Hold on to your beliefs, but lower the temperature. Check your stocks. Prepare. Know that there could be some stormy times ahead. There's nothing wrong with preparing ahead of time if you see a storm coming. So prepare. Know the things that you think you might need for your family. Know that seasons are getting ready to change at the stores. They already are. So you can find some summer items, summer things, because they're getting ready to switch into school mode. They're already putting school supplies in there. So I'll tell you some things that you should be looking for now. Beach towels, I tell you that every year. In fact, I think I told you on last week's video. Beach towels. Look for fans, box fans, circulating fans. Fans will go on sale. And just keep, usually they're in the dishes section. I'll just tell you this. If you do any kind of processing, you do any kind of canning, in my opinion, bowls come in handy. Lots of bowls, bigger bowls. And so I always like to look in this section towards the end of summer when they begin to put the picnic items on clearance. They usually have big bowls and pitchers, to drink out of, not pictures on the wall, but pitchers. And even dishes and things that you would be able to take outside to picnic and stuff. Those kind of things will go on sale. And they come in handy when you're processing foods or doing things around the farm or at your place where you live. And just do, think outside of the box, some things that you'll be able to use in the future. We're going to make it, guys. We are. We just need to love our neighbor. Well, until next time, guys, this tractor's getting hot. I am going to go back in the house and help Cheyenne take care of different things with the boys. We've got some little dough handprints we're going to make with the boys today and get those made up and get those air drying and maybe even make some for Christmas ornaments. I know it's a long ways from Christmas, but it's time to get started. And so we may make some Christmas ornaments with salt dough that we made for Bible school. And we had some left over, so we're going to make some items with the boys and get those things done. And last night of VBS for us, so we will be able to concentrate fully on the homestead next week. So videos should start picking back up. I know I got to can some potatoes. I'll probably do that one day next week, so be watching for that video. And who knows what other kind of trouble I can get myself into. So until next time, guys, this is Josie. I love you guys. I really do. Keep looking well to the ways of your household, stocking up and preparing and thinking outside of the box for things that you might need. And until next time, we're gone.